everyone, and welcome to NLBP TV. I am Camille Miller, the founder of the Natural Life Business Partnership, and I am with my co-host Lee Grabarczyk of Soulful Mandalas out of Long Valley, New Jersey. Hi, Lee.
Hello, Camille.
And you are here watching the Lee and Me Show, and today we're going to talk about affirmations.
Yes, yes,
So,
very important, especially when things can be, as they have been recently, challenging.
yeah, say the
One
least.
of the things that affirmations address is when I'm in a conversation or when I'm in an experience of a particular idea. So, for example, let's say that I am watching the news and there's something about the news that's very triggering. And that triggering gets me very, like, get very, upset. I'm getting like a little bit animated about it. There's a reality to that. There's an energetic force connected to that. There's an actual influence on my behavior that I'm engaging in. And even when I say, it's no big deal, it's just television, or it's something out there, not here, it's out there.
Right.
I'm drinking it in, right? I'm drinking it. And it may satisfy something. It may be a political point of view that I want to kind of feel stronger about. So we can intensify that. It may be some kind of concept or belief system that I'm very attached to where I'm like, yeah, that's exactly right. That's how I feel. But what it does is it causes a certain kind of ratcheting up of the aggression or almost defensiveness connected to my state of consciousness that can then create restlessness and discomfort. So one of the things that's very, very important is I am the keeper of what it is that I see and hear.
The
And every
reality.
single thing that I'm exposing myself to is influencing this and influencing my identity. So when I'm in a state where I feel like disrupted, particularly with some of the things, so some of these energies too are not just things that I can kind of see or hear through media. They're also something that is part of in the air and kind of, sort of in our society, if you will.
Feeling.
And I need to keep
Yeah.
track of like what is connected to that incident and what is it that I want to generate for me. In other words, that's fine. That's part of what's going on over there. What do I want to do for me? And the way that I address that is with an affirmation. And affirmations are really, even though, and what I love about them is whether or not I believe them, whether or not I think they're real or they just think a bunch of bunk, if I say something, my consciousness takes it in. Even if I say, for example, like something positive about maybe I feel a negative about, and I say something positive, that positive action is something I'm then ingesting. But not only am I ingesting it in the state that I'm hearing my own voice, I'm ingesting it in that the mechanisms that create it are then being engaged in a way that gives them a certain vitality. The thought process of creating an affirmation that is something that is positive and designed to heal, that those words actually in their structure and in their execution affect not only just my the outcome, but the physical mechanisms that make it then easier to do it again.
Yeah, but you have to believe it. So I think
Well,
there's
let
a
me put
lot of
that,
people out there shouting affirmations in mirrors, and they
yes,
really have self doubt, limiting beliefs of a subconscious nature. Because,
yes,
I mean, we test for this all the time in Psyche. They don't actually believe it. Sometimes,
right.
and I did have one client that I actually, she said 10 affirmations a morning or whatever it was. And I was like, let me test you. Let me see if you actually subconsciously believe them. And a few of them she didn't. You know,
Yeah,
so
there's an investment in the idea that I have, right? So let's say that I've been having an idea of unworthiness that was brought about in early
right,
childhood,
big
and
one.
I'm very, very attached to that idea. Well, God
Excuse
bless
me.
you. Turning that around, it would be foolish in a way to say that, well, I'm going to let go of 50, 40 years of experience and it's just going to poof, gone. No, it's hard work. if I'm doing an action, if I'm saying something that is counter to a belief system, the belief system, like you were saying, is very unconscious and goes deep, deep, like a, like an iceberg. It goes
Yeah.
way, way, way under the ground, way, way under the water. And I'm addressing that in a kind of like a, beginning state. So it's fairly superficial. So yeah, it's not going to address all of that because I'm not going to believe it at that level because there's all of this other stuff that's hanging on that.
Yeah.
But I don't want to have that stop me from what it is that I'm thinking because that's a trip up. So this is where it gets kind of interesting because at the moment that I suspend my attachments, really, this is why letting go of attachments is so important. When I'm attached to something, an identity, concept, belief system, blah, 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 and I know that a lot of these are very unconscious, when I'm very much attached to them, there's no movement. So part of that is suspending it through a state of, I am now willing to see this differently, or I don't know who I am per se, or I am going to be more than I thought I was, or I am more than I thought I was.
Right.
So all of those kinds of concepts start very, very slightly, right? They're just teeny little things. Now, do they actually believe it deep down? No. But what will happen if they do it consistently is not only will they start speaking it, but then they'll start believing it enough to take a single action. I'm going to make a telephone call today to get something going on, or I'm going to start my blog today, or I'm going to be beginning my business thing because I get that that's important. My self-discovery comes from the processing of the affirmation that then lends itself to a greater awareness. So I go to the psyche and I go, wait a second, I get to see that this isn't, but all of this is coming out of that initial concept of the affirmation, the thought process, the choice, the intention. And then I can start seeing how it is that where I am resistant. And then when I look at that, this is the thing that is, I think, the most deadly part about attachments. An attachment doesn't show itself. It doesn't say, here I am, you're attached to this.
Yeah.
An attachment's purpose, and this could be seen as aspects of ego consciousness, if you would, but attachment's purpose is to just be invisible. If I don't see it, if I don't recognize it, there's no resistance, there's nothing to notice, so it's like a shell game. I can then continue to perpetuate whatever the idea is, but I do so with a lacking of an awareness about the agents that are driving my behavior. That's why our own self-reflection and our own looking at ourselves in a more deeper way is so important, because that's when we make the discovery about those things that are causing these patterns and consequences in our lives. Because otherwise we're just blaming it on the world. We're just saying, if that one differently did what they did, or this person, or if my parents were differently, or whatever, everything would be fine. But the reality is that I am perpetuating some kind of a thought. And not only that, I'm choosing not even see it. Or not even that, no, choosing to see would be admitting that it even existed. It's just not even there. And this is the concept of, I don't know what I don't know.
Right.
And when I'm living in I don't know what I don't know, and I can actually start even saying that much, immediately there's a growing awareness connected to it.
So how do you think someone could start doing affirmations?
I think that one of the things that makes an affirmation more powerful is the amount of agents involved in it. In other words,
Amount of what?
The senses involved.
Okay.
So I'm going to talk about that. So I remember when I was I used to take music lessons for singing.
Yep.
And my voice teacher at the time said to me, she would say this, that was the line, I love life and I want to live. And we couldn't start our class until she got that energy.
Okay.
She goes, we need to make sure that you're in the right headspace for this. Because you remember, your voice goes on into eternity. So you want to make sure that what you're communicating is coming from love. I was
like
16
that.
at the time.
Yeah.
She was 78.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right. So when I'm engaged in something that is singing, it's a little bit more of a different spin on it. Or maybe I sing it and maybe I say it and I write it. Now my hand is feeling the energy and my mind is thinking it and I'm speaking it. Right. If I say it to myself in the mirror, and this is very, very hard for many people to talk about self-love. I know a lot of people who cry when this happens. And I've had, close people in my life who've gone through this, and I've been through this too. But when I'm looking and saying it and I'm getting involved, and the affirmation is really the affirmation that best suits me is the thing that I say I want. So whatever it is that I want from other people, whatever it is that I need from other people, like from my family, from the world, whatever, the thing that keeps coming up is, oh, once again, I didn't get blah, or I feel blah. Whatever that is the affirmation that I work on, and then I should start that process.
Yeah. I think it's important to keep it in present tense, emotionally engaging.
Yes.
And instead of saying like, it can't have any negatives in it or like nots. Like instead of saying, like I want to not be sick, you want to say like I want to be healthy.
Yes.
Right. To not have that false piece or I know, like instead of saying like I want to be cancer free, you want to say I want to have a strong immune system.
Yes.
Right. Stuff like.
Well,
so to think about the negative piece because your subconscious hears that.
Exactly. That's a great point. Yeah. I remember I had this one person I knew, therapist, who said his example of this was, don't think of the Statue of Liberty tap dancing down Broadway in a pink polka dotted dress. Don't think about it.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
So yeah, we only hear the actual idea, and also the way that we phrase it is important too. You want to start with the positive of it. If you have something where you're like, I accept love is abundant in my life. So that would be the front part. Anger is disappearing, right? We always lead with, or anger is disappearing from my life, or frustration is disappearing from. Though the first one is always sometimes people kind of like say what they go with the thing that they want to get rid of, and then they go to the thing that they want. Always go for what you want first.
I don't even mention what I want to get rid of because I feel like that's
people
like
do this
thinking of the negative. I wouldn't think about that at all. I always say like, I like to keep them short. So I always say like, I am ready for success now. I am ready for love now. I am worthy and deserving of this. I would say I'm a money magnet.
Right. There's something else that you said too that is a big deal, and that is the energy.
Yeah. It has to be emotionally engaging or it's not going to work.
Oh my God. So absolutely. So emotion or the energy emotion is critical because it's consciousness. It's the critical building block, I believe, of what causes reality to, be made the way that it is.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of things that come up for me in that. If I'm saying an affirmation and I'm not really into it, that's something to notice.
Yeah.
That's like a sign of, that's why the affirmation works so many different ways, because even if it isn't something that I necessarily get yet, even if it's something that I don't quite believe in, the process of the investigation and the communication of it starts actually bringing up what's in the way, and that also adds to the kind of idea of becoming more successful, because I go, oh, I need to be really more visceral about this. I need to really kind of get my teeth into this thing and really say it. In fact, I realize in my life I haven't been doing the following things, and I need to do those with the same kind of intensity and emotion that I've been saying that I want other people to have in my life, but I need to set the tone and do that now.
Yeah.
So absolutely.
For those that are self-reflective that way.
Yes.
Some people just think that they keep saying things over and over and over.
No,
you need to have that extra piece to it, and that's why I say it has to be engaging for you. You can't
Yes.
just say like I am beautiful. I have a beautiful body. I like if you
Yes.
don't believe it or if it's not emotionally engaging, like you can care less.
It really has to be, it has to have a kind of an ownership, and it has to have a passion to it, like you're saying.
Right.
Because passion is where I discover my truth. Passion, whatever I'm passionate about, is what it is that is really resonating with me in my energy and my beliefs.
Hmm.
Because that means that for me, it's something that I'm invested in. And if
Absolutely.
I'm not invested in it, it's going to be very kind of, you know,
Yeah, that's not really
ethereal,
business.
very light. It won't have the same kind of registry of intensity. And intensity doesn't need to be meaning that I'm pounding the table. Intensity, some of the most joyous, loving sounds, you can hear them in music all the time, are very pure and light and gorgeous, but there's passion to them. There's a kind of a feeling or intensity. Sometimes even like a musical instrument can help do that. Drawing can help do
Absolutely.
that. Exploring what communication styles work best for you is part of the gift of doing this kind of work, because we each have a different way in which we some people are more creatively self-expressive through drawing than they are through the spoken word. Some people through singing, and they can't, some people speak, everybody's got a different kind of skill set, and we want to honor those skill sets. And that's another thing that people will discover in their process of the affirmation work, is what works best for them.
Yeah. Perfect. All right, let's wrap this baby up. Thank you for another great episode, Lee. If you loved this episode, please share it with your friends and don't forget to subscribe to our channels. If you have a topic or something you'd like us to talk about, you can reach us at thenaturallife.org through our contact us page. Thanks, Lee, for another great episode.
Wow. It's just